before anything, like understanding the creator and their process and their audience and how they like to create content, and then spending some time getting to know them as well as if they have an agent. I think it's really important.
Hey Kirby, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. How are you doing?
It's good. It's good. Today it's sunny. It's still cold in the city, but as I was telling you before getting started, up until like doesn't snow, there are no blizzards. I don't want to
Right.
jinx it because you never know, right? Living in the city, one day is in the 80s, and then it's snowing, and then you think that it's over, and then so
I'm saying we
I'm
had
happy. Yeah, it's
we had
sunny.
we had every season last week. Like
Oh
we
yeah.
hit all of the
Oh
weather.
yeah.
It
Oh
was
yeah.
intense.
Exactly. So today kind of complain, to be honest, compared to previous weeks and months. I'm very excited to have you here today. Before we get started, with of course, your experience and talking about company specifically, we always try to introduce our guest with this thing called the map. Basically, it's divided in three main sections to learn a bit more about yourself, right? For people listening today, and basically, it's divided in the mission. So, what do you aim to achieve with your work? Achievements, anything that you're proud of, could be notable milestone, your life, your career, both if you want. And the last one is the purpose. So why you do what you do.
Yeah, so I would say like my mission at the end of the day is to make my job fun, is
Mhm.
to make it fun and exciting while protecting the brand and empowering creators to maintain their authenticity. My notable achievements, I would have to say, for me, is just personally like leaning into my most authentic version of myself and carrying that through with everything I do, especially being in corporate life as an artist, as a creator myself. So I really lean full send with my truest self. And then my purpose, honestly, I fell into this role straight up out of curiosity and passion. And I think that is my secret ingredient as far as like what makes it so much fun is that I maintain a level of curiosity and passion to deliver the best work that I can.
Especially in this industry, right? Being curious all the time. It's very important. Every day there is something happening. The moment that you lose that, right? You lose the angle, you lose the,
Mhm.
that value they can bring on the table. I would love to start with something that has been quite an important topic these days, as content creators and influencers that are not anymore just distribution channel these days. Back in the day, that was the case. You gave something to an influencer, they promoted it. You see that as a distribution channel. You finish the campaign,
Mhm.
you check on the metrics, and that's it. But these days, right, we are seeing more companies, right, using and collaborating with influencers, also on another side, right, more on the almost being creative partners, right.
Mhm.
So we look at how do we collaborate with influencers, what can bring on the table. We collaborate, we co-create. In your case, right, with Sargento, like, are you doing that? Are you seeing that happening? And if so, how do you approach that when it comes to, again, finding the right influencers and collaborate with them instead of, again, just using it merely just distribution channels?
Yeah, sure. I think we've evolved in this space to move past these one-off transactional moments and to allow us to really have a true relationship that goes deeper than just, campaigns throughout the year. So what that looks like for me and the team is really understanding before anything, like understanding the creator and their process and their audience and how they like to create content, and then spending some time getting to know them as well as if they have an agent. I think it's really
Mhm.
important versus just, here's the creative brief, here's the email, send it through, get some content back. I think having the relationship grow both on the creator side and if they have an agent on the agent side, because at the end of the day, to be able to have face-to-face conversations, direct contact with creators that we're partnering with saves a lot of time and effort at the end of the day, especially when you're collaborating together and you're not just asking for a transactional piece of content back.
What type of conversation are you having when it comes to co-creation and collaboration, right? Is it about jumping around like ideas and brainstorming about what could be the creative concept? It is about coming out with potentially a new product, or maybe something that is a drop, right, of an item or a new product that maybe is available only, like, no thanks to the influence. Like, there are different ways, right? So I'm curious to see, like, how do we approach it when it comes to that?
Yeah, so like our first approach is internally making sure we understand what it is, like what do we need to
Hmm.
be done? What's the job to be done? And understanding the program or the campaign itself, I think will go a long way when you're starting to bring the creator on to brief them. That upfront briefing for the piece of content that you're going to be asking for should really be very an open canvas, an open space, right? You want to share the pen. You don't want to write for the creator. You don't want to tell them, here's what we want you to make. It's going to feel, from a creator standpoint, that's going to feel very restrictive. And
Hmm.
you're not going to get that true authenticity that is true gold, right? So I think for us, it is briefing them, but giving them the tools and really empowering them to do what they do best. And that comes through with what is the clear objective that we need to land on? What are any of the upfront important key messages that need to come through in the content that they're going to create? And then how do we inspire them? How do we give them thought starters? How do we show them what else that we might have working behind the scenes while they're creating the campaign? This is a bigger piece of a campaign, right? It's not just a one off with a creator. So, how are we leaning into that space to show them what we're doing, get them excited? And then a lot of times the next step is after I brief them for the creator to come back with what I like to call white paper concepts. Just type up, frame it up. Give me your ideas so I can go back to the brand team, so I can go back to Sargento and say, here's what this creator, our brand ambassador, is looking to do, and then we kind of shape that together. That's where I would say, the collaboration really starts to come to life. In the beginning, we're just getting them excited, right? We want them to be inspired and understand why we're asking for the type of content that we're asking for, but we want them to come back with all of their ideas, and then we see what lands the best internally.
And how do you balance that, right? Between giving these, their authenticity, their tone of voice, even the freedom of really jumping around ideas, right? Because maybe you didn't think about something and then they actually say, oh, you know what, there is these trends, or my audience usually love these. And so how can you be open, but at the same time also, right, respecting either the guidelines, the brand
Mhm.
safety, and so on, right? Like each brand has a different type of balance there. So I'm curious, like, what is yours? Like, do you have a framework there? Do you send them guidelines, or do you give more like an idea of what to expect, more or less, and then you can also have your own freedom to say, maybe this time we push towards that, and we see how the audience likes it or not, that type of content.
Sure. I think something new that we did, we kicked off our brand ambassador brand trip.
Mhm.
That was really helpful to get the team to understand our family promise, our family messaging. So to get somebody to basically reiterate your brand messaging doesn't always feel authentic. And I think throughout the past years doing this, I started to feel like I'm just telling them what to say. I don't want to
Mhm.
tell them what to say. I want them to
Mhm.
say it in their own words. I want it to be authentic, and I want it to really feel real to their audience. So I think the biggest thing that we do upfront in the briefing is to really give a clear overview of, again, what are the objectives? What are the product benefits that we're looking at? Why is this product so important? But how do you weave in our Sargento family messaging? And that's
Mhm.
really important because we take a lot of pride in being a family owned company, third generation for 70 plus years. So we need that to come through naturally in the content that they're creating and not just be a one line dropped into their video, because that's going to feel so out of place. From there, we're just then giving them thought starters or some creative territory to build around. But then their ideas come to life through that upfront briefing. And once we see their concepts, it starts to connect the dots on, like, okay, maybe they need a little bit more, we need to have a little bit more conversation around how to to deliver our messaging a little bit stronger. It's not coming through, things like that. But the whole time we are collaborating and making sure that it's feeling heard and seen on both ends.
In addition to the messaging, have you identified any formats that for a company like Sargento it's working these days? Like, is there anything that you are doubling down this year, or are you still kind of doing a marketing mix where you experiment with different formats, short form, long form, some vlogging behind the scene? Or have you identified that, something and be like, actually this year we are doing like 80% of our content, it's primarily that one is working well. I'm very curious because I'm hearing like a lot of different opinion on that, right? There are companies that even if they identify their best formats, they still want to experiment and play around and having fun. Others are like, we tried everything. This is the one that works. This is the one that brings the majority of results. So we keep with that. What are you doing these days?
I think we're leaning into experimenting. I think we're learning how to evolve in a deeper long-term relationship, like not just as distribution channels, but experiential or moments that we can again host and bring our brand ambassadors here to the cheese capital of the world,
Mhm.
like the brand trip we just did. So I think we're finding ways to really thread that needle throughout a 360 marketing campaign versus just, hey, here's one video that you're gonna see on TikTok.
Hey, if your brand is ready to grow, we are here to help. At the Influencer Marketing Factory, we run full-service influencer campaigns that actually move the needle. We handle everything: creator identification, campaign strategy, contract, shipping, logistics, you name it. We have supported brands of every size, from world-recognized Fortune 500 companies to ambitious DTC startups. And with our in-depth ROI tracking, you always know what's working and why. Just visit the influencermarketingfactory.com to learn more and get started. And specifically to the trip, like we have been seeing like many companies, right? The beauty companies and fashion there are so many that are organizing the years, right? What worked for you specifically in that case? Was it to bring in the people together and then having them reacting in an authentic way, generally way during the experience? Was it to meet them in person and potentially also doing some sessions? Because I'm also seeing that some of the travels is not just about the content, right? It's also to meet in person, because maybe something that you cannot do on a Zoom call whenever you are in a room or somewhere, right, with the brand and the influencers and content creators on site, you can bounce ideas around. You can have a better, and quicker sometimes reaction to things. So I'm curious, like even in the case, did you use that time also for that, or was it primarily to again creating content and then you kind of wait till the end of the trip to, make all the edits and so on? Like I'm curious, like how do you use a trip? Is content based only or more than that?
Yeah, it was way more than that. While content is fun and exciting, our mission was to bring our brand ambassadors on site to Sargento to not only experience the cheese capital of the world and see what it's all about, but to meet the CEO, to meet our leaders and our stakeholders, to understand the importance of high quality product and what that means to us. So I think for us, it was like a lot of education because our brand ambassadors are a true extension of our brand and they are co-authors and our partners. So we wanted to make sure that they were able to see it and experience it firsthand, from Cheese 101 training to meeting our master cheese graders to doing factory plant tours to see how our cheese is made, right? So I think in those moments, allowing them to feel just as part of the Sargento family, as part of the brand, really helps them take that insight back and weave that into their content that they're going to create throughout the year and truly understand it, but like bring it home in their own words versus us
Mhm.
trying to tell them how they should think about it. We wanted them to experience it firsthand.
And when it comes to systems, right? Again, these days we have tons of campaigns and creators and nano to celebrities and some on TikTok. Some are gonna do like a live streaming on Twitch. Like there is a lot happening, right? And
Mhm.
metrics are important. You want to be sure that you are collecting the data in the proper way. You want to analyze the videos. You want to really have an understanding of the ROI and so on. Managing expectations, right? It's so important these days. Understanding what to expect from the campaign, from influencers, and so on. What system have you built internally to be sure that everything is smooth, it's aligned? You not only, right, you work on identify the right influencers, the trips, the content, but what happened during it, what happened, after that, right? I'm also
Mhm.
curious for you, what are the metrics that these days matters? Because back in the day was a lot of brand awareness. These days it's a lot of, conversion based, depend by the product and category and industry, of course. But I'm curious, like, how do you manage everything when it comes to especially long-term relationship so that they stick around, and you have better retention with both customer and influencers? So yeah, I'm curious, like, did you build something internally, and how do you manage your day to day?
For us, process is everything. And this year, we've spent a lot of time refining and making sure that our process is allowing a lot of people the visibility to see just tracking, like where we're at with the project. I think, previous years, I was doing a lot of work, but a little bit siloed, right? It's like
Hmm.
by the time I get the video, I'm like, "Oh my god, here's the video."
Yeah.
Today we're using tools, project management tools, and a team of people for reviewing collective feedback, approval. I mean, videos are going all the way up to our CEO, right?
Mm,
It's not just my manager that's seeing the video and saying
sure.
thumbs up, get that posted. There's
Yeah.
there's a lot of eyes on it, and we have a really good flow when it comes to managing that, and so that helps us stay on track and be able to deliver all of our content on time and not miss any many steps along the way. So that's been really helpful.
I think, when you mention about, CRMs and being able not to have in silos, I think that these days is extremely important because, before influencer marketing was this thing that was a bit outside of everything else, right? You were trying to get maybe a budget allocated for influencer marketing. There was still skepticism. It was sort of like, apart. And yeah, you got this money, you can invest, but it was not part of the 360. But these days, when you want to go out with influencers, you want to understand, okay, what else are we doing, right? Can we integrate these other maybe TV commercial with maybe an influencer? Can we use that, out of home type of advertising? It so there is much more, right? So do I understand when you say not being in silos, because it's that easy, right, to
Mhm,
maybe have a misunderstanding of like this is our messaging for all the other platforms, and then why are we doing this on TikTok, right? Or why the
mhm,
messaging on YouTube is different, right? So
mhm,
that's why I was curious, right? Like, how do you talk with other either departments or also different creative aspects to be
mhm.
sure that you are aligned and the message that goes out there is
Yeah,
coherent?
I would say, like, we are like, our whole department, we are an in-house agency, and our whole department up front, before I'm even briefing our brand ambassadors, there is clear understanding how they fit in to the bigger puzzle, right? To the
Sure.
bigger piece of the puzzle. So again, it is weaved in all the way through from the kickoff of our campaign.
No, again, very crucial, and that's what we say all the time. No matter if you have like an agency or it is in house, understanding from the beginning, because I saw in the past so many mistakes because of this miscommunication, misalignment between,
Mhm,
again, what you want to do with influencers and anything else in terms of marketing. So very important that I think in 2026, we are finally getting that position where influencer marketing is important, is crucial, is part of the marketing mix, and should be treated in that way. And talking about 2026, and also I'm curious also for the next years, what are some of the trends that you're noticing, or you hope to see something more? Like that's something also that I ask all the time. What are you liking right now? What are you betting on? And what do you think is missing in the influencer marketing arena these days that you would love to see even a bit more happening, or something different? Like, what would you change?
I think just the shift from having influencers to brand ambassadors, I
Mhm.
think that evolution is huge right now, and you're gonna see a lot more brands shifting from just having a long roster of influencers versus having more true brand ambassadors that are an extension of their brand, and to where these creators are known to be a Sargento brand ambassador, and they're following their fans, their audience understands and supports that and it cheers them on for that. And creators are being a lot more mindful of what brands they partner with to begin with, and they want to be really just pick the right one, right? They're
Sure.
intentional. They're very intentional and making sure that they support that before just taking the bag and running. And so I think that moving ahead, you're just going to see these influencers showing up in a lot more spaces outside of social channels. You're going to see them probably more on packaging, on CPG packaging in stores or in shopper, retail spaces or in real life experiential moments and events because that is that is what gets people's attention.
Yeah, we did like a mini report about IRL, right? So
Mhm.
not only brands organizing events, but also creators themselves organizing them. Are you planning to do, in addition to the trip, like also there in terms of more experiential and having people actually, especially when it's a physical product, right? That you can you
Mhm.
can taste, you can try. So I'm curious, like if you're also thinking to do a few more of these because we have been seeing there is an influx, there is a lot of interest. I'm trying to understand what will be your balance between online activities and offline and if you want to continue experimenting or I know of other brands that are saying we're trying to go out into a 70-30 type of position, other is 50-50. Do you know more or less what is your balance for this year?
Yeah, I would say like 70-30 is a good balance. We're always coming up with ideas. So I
Mhm.
think I think when it comes to IRL, experiential, in those types of moments, like yeah, we want to see more of that.
That we know, I don't know if you agree on that, but we noticed that it's a great way not only for the content but also for customers to actually meet, and we noticed that whenever you share the same value or the same love for a product, for a brand, when you meet at an event, there is also this idea of a community that gets together. So we notice that sometimes it's not about the brand, it's not about the influencers, sometimes it's about the community that just show
Oh,
up, and that saves
100%.
you so much, right?
100%. Yeah, you build trust and consistency through having a strong community, and then it takes it away from like having to have so much reach because you have that loyalty.
Exactly. Yeah, no, extremely important. I will finish on this, to wrap it on the episode. We already discussed about this, but I want to highlight again and stress the fact that having a stronger, like, community of maybe, fewer people compared to the typical reach online, that value, it's 20, 100 times more, right? Than just
Mhm.
getting in front of a thousand, if not millions of people. But maybe you have those like thousand people that all the time, they not only follow you, they comment, they come to your events. They are the ones sending you. I'm pretty sure that they send maybe emails and feedback about, like, what if you did this? I have an idea, right? And those are
Mhm.
the people that you want to court all the
Oh,
time.
100, yeah, 100%. Yep.
That's amazing. Kirby, anything else before we finish the episode? Like anything else that you wanted to add that I didn't ask you today that you are excited about when it comes to the industry?
Yeah, I'm just excited to be in a space where I can lead with curiosity and passion as a creator myself and tap into this space and make it my everyday job. It's exciting, it's fun, and who doesn't love cheese?
Right? I agree on that. I agree 100%. Kirby, thank you so much for joining me today on this episode and for sharing, all your knowledge with us. This was the Influence Factor by the Influencer Marketing Factory, and I'll see you in the next episode.